have been fired since President Trump returned senior generals. More than a dozen senior generals and admirals have been fired since President Trump returned to the White House in January. Today, the sheer scale of Mr. Trump's firings so early into his administration is considered historically unusual. The dismissals began within days of Mr. Trump's return to the White House, starting with Admiral Linda Fagan. Homeland Security officials later cited leadership deficiencies, operational failures, and an inability to advance Coast Guard objectives as reasons for her firing. On the 21st of February, Mr. Trump announced on Truth Social that Air Force General Charles Q. Brown would be removed as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff before his term ended. In April, Trump dismissed NSA Director General Timothy Haw and Vice Admiral Shoshana Chatfield, then serving as the U.S. military representative to NATO. Other recent firings include Vice Admiral Nancy LaCour, Rear Admiral Milton Sands, and Defense Intelligence Agency Director Jeffrey Kruse. The scope and pace of these firings set this administration apart from the past. And while supporters argue the changes restore accountability and sharpen the military's focus, critics warn they risk politicizing leadership and undermining stability.
Fire those generals, the woke generals at the top, because people have been talking about it.
Yes, I would get rid of them, yeah.
Right now, Trump's team is drafting an executive order to fast-track the removal of top military generals. That's really f***ing scary. The executive order would create a warrior board that would review top military officers and find those unfit for leadership so Trump can retire them. But there's no specific standards in the order about what makes a general unfit for leadership. Senior military officers fear the board will really be vetting personal loyalty to the president, not the Constitution. Eric Carpenter, professor of military law and former Army lawyer, said, "This looks like an administration getting ready to purge anyone who will not be a yes man." It would ultimately allow Trump to politicize the military. In October, The Atlantic reported that Trump once said, "I need the kind of generals that had, people who were totally loyal to him, that follow orders." And John Kelly, Trump's former chief of staff, confirmed it. This executive order could give him just that. Troops already take an oath of office to the Constitution and vow not to follow illegal orders, and Congress has to approve any general's promotions. But a board separate from that could undermine the idea that the military isn't political and could encourage officers to stay quiet in the face of illegal orders.
All right, first and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Makah HaKodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to the whole elect preaching this word in true sincerity, to you ribs, to you sisters out there learning in silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom. Right, so Trump has been firing top official military people, since he got in office. And the list is much, much bigger than what, the videos portrayed, including Navy SEALs, CIA, things of that nature. He wants to make he wants to get the loyalty, Salakia, of the military personnel as Hitler did. Right? He's even oppressing the people that, will fight for him. Right? But at the end of the day, Trump himself is controlled by the small hatters. This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 5. "And the Lord has broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with continual stroke. He that ruleth the nations in anger and persecuted, and none hindereth." Right? This is the king of Babylon, Nero, aka Trump. That's what he's doing. He's even oppressing his own people. This is the NLT of Isaiah 14:6. You struck the people with endless blows of rage and held the nations in your angry grip with unrelenting tyranny. Right? And that's what he's being accused of, being a tyrant. Right? At the end of the day, this man's going to get destroyed, him and his military, and everything that goes with it. This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Right? Because, Babylon is the hammer of the earth. And there was a military general that says, if all you have is a hammer, everything else starts to look like nails. Right? That's exactly what we see. But yeah, man. I do pray this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Makaha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who I learned from. Shalom to all for the elect, preaching this word in truth, sincerity. To you ribs, to you sisters out there learning silence and staying in order. I say to you all, Shalom.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the joint staff who used to work for me, and one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."